Hello and welcome to episode
36
of the Binarycore Podcast.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the news that came out yesterday.
Well, depending on when it's released.
Okay, so the news that came out recently about Oculus being bought by Facebook.
Yeah, so this one kind of a sequel to last week's podcast, or the previous podcast. We don't normally do things like that, but it seems relevant because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, because we kind of like mentioned it in terms of things like Project Morpheus and Sony and so on. So in a way, yeah, a sequel.
Yeah, so did Facebook own it? What the hell?
Yeah, gotta admit, pretty surprised. Of all the companies, I would have expected maybe someone like Valve or something, so it was pretty surprising news to have Facebook buy it.
I mean, and what was it, 2.4 billion?
I don't know, I've only seen the figure 2 billion. Apparently,
2 billion.
75% of it was Facebook stock.
Yeah, it's 400 million in cash, and the rest of it's in stock, which is currently like $64 per stock, and it's been increasing for the past however many years, so it's only going to become more. Why are they buying it?
I have a theory about why.
Well, I know the reasons they've said they're buying it, but why are they buying it?
So I reckon the whole reason is things like the reason they bought Instagram and WhatsApp is basically that social networks have a half-life, pretty much. So I think Facebook kind of realised that, so they're trying to, I don't want to say the words, but diversify their portfolio.
Prolong their existence?
Yeah, something like that, by just guzzling everything. So the other two, WhatsApp and Instagram, made sense in the context, but Oculus Rift, bit of a strange choice.
Yeah, they say things like, it's the future, and they want to expand like entertainment and gaming, but they're not entertainment or gaming. I mean,
no, and
those are just byproducts that also happen in conjunction with Facebook, but they're not social.
Yeah, and they're not. They're like what Notch said, basically, in that they're a social network company. They're about building users and then advertising those users. They're not about games. They're not about hardware. And that's the other thing. Facebook haven't made a hardware product and sent it to the market, so they don't have experience in that. And they can have all the money in the world, but if they don't have the experience in it, then that's going to be a tricky one, I think.
But they've bought the company, so Oculus Rift VR, but they're keeping the people on, right? You'd assume they've worked on it for so long. So you say that they don't have experience.
It's a subsidiary.
So you're saying they don't have the experience, but they're keeping the people who do.
I know. I mean, like actually commercializing. So at the minute, it's all been basically R&D, right? So developing the Oculus, but it's an entirely different thing to actually mass manufacture a product and take it to market. That's so much different to actually doing the research and development.
Yeah.
So what I kind of would have expected was if Oculus were to, be bought up by another company, it'd be one which had experience in doing that sort of thing and bringing hardware to the consumer market.
As you say, Valve, that's their latest, venture. They're bringing out their console.
Maybe not Valve in terms of like hardware. In terms of gaming, definitely. But Valve don't really have delivering hardware. They haven't delivered any hardware to the market yet.
I suppose, it's other companies making consoles for them.
Yeah.
But in the same sort of sense, it's another company making hardware for them if they were to buy them. In reference to the VR.
Yeah, but you still don't really have the experience necessarily in the companies. No. You have to kind of hire the people who know how to do it and develop the whole supply chain, because it's vastly complex to do that sort of thing.
But even with them not having that experience, it still makes more sense for them to do it than Facebook.
Yeah, because, they're a gaming company. I think it's kind of the biggest argument for someone like Valve to buy them out. But
to be honest, they seem like the most or not I say obvious, but the most likely people to do it, because I can't think of another company that would. Sony have got Project Morpheus. Microsoft are working on a VR thing. It's all very hush-hush, but they are doing it. So who else really would buy it out?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's like
Google is the only other one I can go to, but I don't.
They've got Glass anyway.
Oh yeah, of course they've got Glass. But is that really VR in the same sort of sense?
That's not VR. That's more like augmented reality, I guess.
Yeah, definitely that's what it would be.
But on the other hand, they do have more experience with hardware and bring it to market, but they're not a gaming company. Which
is why I then went to them, because they fit some of the criteria, and Valve fit another side of it. But I can't think of another company that I would really say, oh yeah, they should do that. Otherwise, you're going to go straight into actual gaming companies and say, oh, what, Blizzard are going to do it, Activision are going to do it. These people don't make sense because they're software, not hardware. I can't really think of anyone.
I mean, well, there are ones like because there is so much involved in making hardware. It's usually pretty big companies, so you've got things like, Logitech making sort of gaming hardware, Samsung, those sort of things.
Yeah.
So companies that have big experience in hardware, but they're not so much on sort of the software side of things.
People who work in conjunction with everyone else. So you mentioned before about what Notch said, and that really, reading that article you sent me, it kind of hit home about how bad of a thing this is, because the article was saying that he recently went to wherever it is that Oculus Rift are based. I don't know too sure. All I know is it is 12 hours away from where he was, and he went there because he funded them on their Kickstarter, which was it. Their Kickstarter got how many millions? I know it was 10 times.
It was a lot.
It was 10 times what they asked for. And that's was it. 2.4 million was raised through crowdfunding on Kickstarter, and they asked for 240,000, and they got 10 times the amount.
There was a huge, a bit of an uproar happening from people who backed it, because effectively they kickstarted this company, and then so the people they gave that money to have now just made like $2 billion off it, and the people who funded it originally don't get any of that benefit. They don't have any stock in it or anything like that. So it's kind of like they basically funded for someone else to
make millions,
many millions.
Not even millions, it's billions. That's what we're at now.
It would be like just kind of an individual having $2 billion, but it's.
I don't know.
Probably talking tens or hundreds of millions for the Cube.
Palmer Luckey, the guy who seriously, his surname is Lucky. Very, very, very much so. He's sitting on quite a good bit of money right now.
Do you know how old he is?
No, how old is he?
21.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding you. That's not bad going at all.
But yeah, so it was Notch. He gave $10,000, which was one of the highest. It may have even been the highest package that you could do on Kickstarter, which gave him.
It was the highest. Yeah, it was 5,000 or more.
And there was, they're the kind of ones that you limit. Like only 10 people can do this, and you actually get a trip to their. I was going to say studios, but to their offices and see what's going on. Yeah. And that was he went there 2 weeks ago, so 2 weeks before the announcement.
Yeah, so they would have kept it quiet until announcing it. But and
it's just
an interesting thing I saw earlier. Someone had posted a comment on Reddit. I can't remember what it was, maybe a few months ago, saying that a friend of theirs had been at the Oculus office and saw Mark Zuckerberg there, and they were kind of like, "Oh, I wonder what this means." And people were just kind of like, "Oh no, they wouldn't sell to Facebook." There's another kind of thing that. Yeah, I mean, there's another thing that kind of annoyed some people as well. There was another comment made by, I think it's Palmer Luckey as well, saying that they wouldn't sell, they had no plans to, or they weren't going to sell Oculus to another company.
Heard that too, yeah.
So I think that's kind of annoyed people as well. For me personally, it's like, if I were in Palmer Luckey's position, I would have done it in a heartbeat, taken the money and run. You don't say no to $2 billion, quite frankly.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with it, from an outsider point of view. Yeah, from I wouldn't say the consumer side, because I'm not going to get one, but from the outside of it, it's why are you selling out? And say selling out, they've already made loads of money, like 91 million their company's worth, was worth.
Out of curiosity, you said you're not going to get one.
No,
is that because of this?
No, I was like that before.
Okay, I
did mention
whether it changed like your opinion of.
It did change my opinion of it, but still with the. I mean, I did mention it in the last podcast that I'd like to try one, but I would never purchase one. I don't see it being as big in gaming, which is what they're making it for, really.
Yeah.
Or I don't see it being as big of a thing as everyone else seems to think it is. It's the future, but not anytime soon.
It might be the future,
but not anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical. I would love to try one and kind of go from there. But I mean, it was. I don't know. I still have in mind the whole, all of the various attempts at VR in the past. I know technology's come on a long way since then, but I don't know. It just doesn't quite seem. I don't know, it doesn't seem like necessarily a good mechanism, I guess.
When I say I want to try it, I don't mean try a game with it. I like some of the sort of tours that they do with it. Like at South by Southwest that just happened, there was a tour of the wall from Game of Thrones, and I think that'd be quite interesting, to see it from that point of view, actually walk the wall and whatnot. But I've seen footage of people doing roller coaster rides using the Oculus Rift and getting violently sick afterwards because of how realistic it is. But I don't know if I would like to play a game with it. I know like a lot of the games that are coming out recently, like say Thief. Thief has got Oculus capability already put into it. I wouldn't want to play that game as a VR. I mean, after reading a lot about it, I don't want to play that game anyway. It's like an alpha copy. But yeah, just reinforcing my point of I don't think VR is going to be as big in gaming as everyone else thinks it should be. I reckon it'll be used a lot elsewhere for other forms of entertainment or other science sort of things.
In which case then, in a way, the Facebook acquisition kind of makes sense.
Yeah, no, from what they said they want to do, like expanding sort of horizons and for entertainment and stuff like that, if they follow through with it, which they probably will because they just spent a lot of money on it, there are great things that could happen with it. But I don't know, because it's that whole sort of consumerism sort of thing. It's Facebook are buying out all of the companies.
Yeah,
who are they going to buy next?
I'm pretty skeptical about Facebook because it's kind of like I don't trust them, and I know there are all these sort of promises at the minute where they're going to leave Oculus to run themselves, and they just give them backing and resources and all that sort of stuff.
Which is what they said and what they're kind of doing with WhatsApp. I mean, they haven't
and Instagram as well.
They haven't integrated these technologies. They've bought them, let them do what they want, and making money from it.
But the other thing is, it's kind of like, just because they say that now doesn't mean it's always going to be like that.
Of course not.
I mean, that's the other thing. That's the thing that kind of bugs me a little bit about the comments that have been made, where they're sort of promising things like, "Oh, we promise that you'll never need to have a Facebook login to use an Oculus Rift," and I don't think these sort of things, or they're saying it won't ever be just be Facebook sort of thing. And I don't think it's something that they can actually make a promise because Facebook own them, so they can do whatever they want, and what they choose to do now could be completely different from what they do in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years.
I can just imagine that you first put on the Oculus Rift and the first thing you see is, do you want to log in with Facebook? Or do you want to log in normally, like most websites do these days? But what you're saying,
would only be the Facebook option.
Yeah. Do you want to log in with Facebook or, log in with Facebook? Just do it.
I know what would make you buy one with Facebook owning it. Just imagine being able to play Farmville with an Oculus Rift.
Why would I do that when I've got Township on my phone?
Just joking.
You say about they say they're not going to do this and they may go back on their word. A prime example of that is Palmer Luckey said that he would never sell Oculus Rift. And
when I found out about that, it was kind of like, there goes a bit of his credibility in my eyes, to be honest.
He needs credibility. He's got millions.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, at the end of the day, I think that, well, put in the same position, I think the vast majority of people would do the same thing.
Yeah.
You just don't say no to $2 billion.
Is the point I was making before. I don't agree with it from the outside point of view, but if I was the one who had that technology, I'd totally sell it.
Yeah, I mean, there is kind of one interesting thing that, although they've sold to Facebook, the whole kind of popularity and development so far does mean that other companies now are kind of getting into the game, like Sony, like Microsoft. So it's no longer kind of like a Oculus or nothing.
Yeah,
race,
and
which is good.
And there are other smaller companies doing it as well. It's what Notch mentioned when he was at the Oculus Rift HQ. He was talking to them about a Minecraft version of it, and they seemed excited about it. But he had all those issues with the graphical user interface of that Minecraft uses a lot, and he would make a stripped down version. But he would love to do it, and now he's completely backed out of it because he doesn't trust Facebook. Which same thing you were saying. Is I think a lot of people are going to be saying this. But he did mention that there are other companies that he would easily not partner with, but sort of back or go to them and say, I want you instead of that terrible social thing.
Yeah, I mean, it might even be companies like Sony and Microsoft. I mean, they've got Minecraft on both of those console platforms.
True,
now,
yeah.
So that's another option, definitely.
I think it's Microsoft, if they're going to want to keep up with this, are going to have to announce their thing pretty soon. I mean, so Sony announced Project Morpheus at GDC, the Game Developers Conference, and obviously we're probably going to see more at E3 in June. I wonder if Microsoft are going to talk about theirs.
I don't know, because it's developing something like that is such a huge project. I mean, I guarantee you that Sony have been working on it for a long time before announcing it, so unless Microsoft already has something in the works, over a year or two, then maybe they will. Yeah, we'll just find out, I guess.
One of the other big ones that's going on is at the University of Southern California. There's a team working on something called Project Holodeck, which utilizes Razer Hydra motion controllers, which PS Move tracking sort of stuff. But that's using the Oculus, actually the HMD. But it's another company doing the same sort of thing. So there are.
I think I saw a bit about that one. Were they at GDC as well? And they had sort of like a big sort of.
I think they might have been. I haven't seen anything about that. I didn't see much from GDC. I saw about the Project Morpheus and just thought it was a bit meh because it was the prototype they had. As I said before, it just looked like a Daft Punk helmet with a PS Move strapped to it with duct tape.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have not really looked into it. I think though, the most kind of worrying thing, or not worrying, the weirdest thing to come out of this is that, technically speaking, John Carmack, co-founder of id Software, Doom and everything, the guy is at the top of the game development technical aspect of the industry. He's, top dog or whatever. And he now works for Facebook. That's just so weird. And because he only left id Software, I think it was last year, to go work for Oculus as their CTO. So it's quite strange to think that someone like John Carmack now works for Facebook.
Yeah. I'm just looking for a few of the games that have said that they're going to be working with Oculus Rift. Like a DayZ standalone is planned.
One of the other ones is I haven't really read about it. I just saw a headline earlier. What are they called? CCP, who make EVE Online.
Oh yeah.
I don't know whether they're either adding in Oculus support to one of their existing games, like EVE Online or Dust 514, or whether they're making a new one. There's something about that, but I didn't really read it. But they're still planning to go ahead.
There was a game, it was a Kickstarter one for a while back, Hawken, that's already got the ability to use, which was sort of it's a mech fighting game. Don't know if you've seen anything about that.
I know the name, but that's about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of games in here that I don't know, but looking at it, a lot of them are using the Unity 4 engine, or Unreal. I wonder if those two sort of designed to work with it.
Well, they're pretty popular engines because they're very extensible and customizable. Unity is, I think, it's an open source one.
It is, yes. Unity is it's open source, and there's quite a lot of assets you can get for it if you had the free account. But if you want to be making something, a game that you're actually going to sell quite well, you want to get the paid versions.
Okay,
Because if you want to export it on certain platforms.
So it's a bit like the Unreal Engine in a way, except, well, yeah, kind of, where the Unreal Engine has always supported a huge amount of modding, and now they've sort of changed all their licensing costs as well to make it cheaper and more accessible for developers at all levels to use it, and then basically in return to commercialize their game, it's like a cut of the profits.
Yeah,
but, Unreal Engine really is one of the best game engines going.
I've seen one here that looks quite interesting. Slender: The Arrival has already got the.
Imagine that'd be terrifying.
That would be terrifying. I don't want to imagine. That's one of them. I don't want to try.
I saw an interesting video/article a while back now, and it was simulating a guillotine. And they'd have people put on the Oculus Rift, and it's sort of the guillotine. You can look around and see, your head in the guillotine and the blade above you, and they'd have them sort of kneeling down, and then as it came down, someone would go up and like just tap the back of the neck with the edge of their hand, and people are just like, it's the weirdest feeling because it's like the brain kind of thinks that it's actually getting cut off, the head's getting cut off. It's so weird.
That is pretty weird.
It's a very creative use of it.
I've just seen one of the best citations ever, and it's really poignant to what it is we're trying to say here. It's got Minecraft planned and then says cancelled. And I've gone to the citation, and it's Minecraft creator cancels Oculus Rift version following Facebook acquisition. Someone has gone to a lot of effort to update Wikipedia.
It was probably updated like within minutes of it being announced.
I thought it was quite good. One that might make you happy is Half-Life is already available.
Yeah, which is quite cool. I would love to try some of these things, and I would absolutely love to try wandering around one of those kind of spectacular builds people do on Minecraft.
Oh yeah, that
would be fantastic.
That was the point I was trying to get at with what they did at South by Southwest with the wall. I don't want to play games on it. I'd like to explore things. I think that'd be a great sort of educational tool. Especially with sort of history would work quite well. Why teach someone through books about the Colosseum when you could go and, walk around it through using VR, or
but
just play.
In a way, it's kind of an extension to the use of like Minecraft in the classroom, which is really taking off now.
Minecraft EDU, that's gone really well.
It kind of building on that, you can kind of almost imagine it. I mean, the hardware is really expensive at the minute, and probably will be kind of expensive when it's released, but that could be, quite a good sort of learning tool.
The other way that you could explore the Colosseums, obviously, is to play the last part of which one of the Assassin's Creed games, I think it might be Brotherhood, where you get to actually run around the Colosseum as Desmond. That'd be a great way to learn about it.
That'd be quite cool, as long as they opened up the map a bit more, because it's a bit linear. I also think, can you just imagine, rather than like a planetarium, but have one with Oculus Rifts? How that would... My mind is blown just thinking about it. That would be so incredible.
I mean, travelling through the stars at that sort of speed, maybe to look around, I think you might get a lot of nausea going on.
Actually, have you sent me a link to that video that's going around, the Minecraft one. You don't actually appear like you're travelling at light speed past the... relativity. Let's not get into relativity.
Just the basic points of it. What he was explaining in the video is travelling through space at that sort of speed, you really wouldn't notice much of a change because you're travelling at light speed, and because you're so far away from everything else, nothing really moves. And except for when he built it in Minecraft, you expected to see a blur of the world below you, but it was more instantaneous.
Yeah.
when he slowed it down, there was 3 screenshots. There wasn't enough time for anything else.
Yeah, it's remarkably quick.
Mm. But so you were saying you hadn't made up your mind about whether you thought this was good or bad, Facebook acquiring it. And throughout this conversation, have you decided? I think you have, but have you?
I'm still at the part where I don't quite believe in the technology, I guess, to actually think that it's all that relevant as to whether Facebook bought it. I mean, if I were looking to buy one previously, which I wasn't, but if I were, then I would no longer be looking to buy one.
Because why would you buy it? What reasons would you want it?
Honestly, just to try shit out because it looks really cool. But there's no kind of, for me at least, I don't see a practical application, or not yet. But I find the whole Facebook buying it thing kind of off-putting, to be honest.
I feel like for the things they've said they wanted to do, they can go ahead and do them, and they may do them well, but I think other people would do it better.
I will eat my words if it turns out very well.
I can.
If it doesn't, I'm going to say it called it.
I can see it going well and all this, but I just think there'd be better companies to do better things with it.
Oh, agreed, absolutely. Don't think it's necessarily the right company to be doing it, but
what they're doing is, as we said at the beginning, they're trying to prolong their existence because there is a half-life for these social websites. Just take Friendster and MySpace. Though MySpace is still going strong, they're just a music place now for unsigned bands to loiter around. But they're trying to prolong their existence, and a lot of it, I think, is it's the latest thing. You know, everyone's taking pictures. Let's get Instagram. Everyone's talking on WhatsApp. Let's get WhatsApp. This Oculus Rift thing is getting quite a bit of news. Let's buy that.
In a way, it's, well, not so much with Oculus Rift, but with Instagram and WhatsApp. It's almost like building a monopoly in a way, in that they were very big competitors, one in the area of communication, the other in, well, photo sharing, really.
Really? I thought it was just pictures of food. It's not specifically photo sharing, it's literally just pictures of food. That's what Instagram is.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so in a way it's kind of buying out what competition there might be. But I don't know. I get that Facebook are branching out, but I still think that Oculus is an odd choice for them to branch out. I mean, they do need to branch out because inevitable with the social network, really. But at the same time, yeah.
One thing, I think, if Yahoo didn't buy Tumblr, I could see Facebook doing that.
And Flickr. Or maybe not. No, probably not Flickr.
No, because that's just a hosting site, isn't it?
No, that's photography. That's kind of where people who know how to take photos go and who don't use Instagram filters. For the most part. Oh yeah, what a burn.
I found out recently my phone has embedded filters for when you take photos straight away. You can be like, do you want the red tint or the sepia or loads of other crap? And I was like, why would I ever use these things?
I think that's kind of like a top tip for people to take photos. It's like, no matter what filters you use, if you're shit at taking photos, your photos are still going to be shit.
Yeah, well, my opinion hasn't really changed. I think it'd be better elsewhere. It doesn't make any sense that they've done it. And I'm curious to what they're going to buy next.
Yeah.
I can't for the life of me think of what they would buy next. I don't know what's going to be the next big craze.
Oh, I don't know. A Tamagotchi is going to make a comeback.
Pinterest. They will buy Pinterest.
Doesn't someone already bought that?
I don't know. It's not that Pinteresting.
I see what you did there. Let's have a look. Has anyone... No, I don't think anyone's bought it.
Well, there you go. I say it now. They are going to buy Pinterest.
They might well do.
Okay. So I think we've covered all the things there.
Yeah, so overall, Binarycore votes meh.
Yeah, we give it 5 mess. Meh. How's the plural of meh?
Mehies.
Huh? May I?
Multi-meh.
It's a multi-meh, yeah. They have achieved level multi-meh.
Mega.
Yeah, I think it's more of it changes nothing about my life. I don't really care about it. I rarely use Facebook as it is, so I don't see this changing much of what I'm going to do. I'm not going to get one just because they bought it.
I definitely wouldn't get one because they bought it.
Okay, so thank you for listening to this weird sequel podcast we did.
Yep, and we'll catch you on the next podcast.
Which will probably be 2 days from now when Facebook buy Pinterest. So thank you for listening. Go to binarycore.org and check out everything else that we do. Bye.
Bye.